All right, welcome, friends, to the Barriers and Breakthrough Show. Happy Thursday evening, and we have an awesome guest. I'm the pain whisperer, of course, here on the B&B show, Rochelle Pain Bomb. And I'm super excited for tonight's show because we have a fantastic guest. I think some of you will have met her, Erika, before, but she is actually live from New York City, one of my favorite cities. Is it your favorite city or not?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Well, I love going there. I've visited you a couple times, so that's fun. So, anyway, welcome, Erica. I know you've done some great things lately, and I'm super excited about the path you're following because I know you have a passion for it. And you got your degree in master's degree in, and now you're a registered dietitian, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your second master's degree, of course, we'll remind people about that. And so I'm super excited about what you've been doing. You've been working with bariatrics, which
hmm
for the layperson that doesn't know what that means, that is working with obese people who are trying to lose weight or who have maybe had gastric bypass surgery. And so Erica covers a lot of area, and what she's going to tell us today might interest you because I'm an athlete and it interests me. So I'm super excited about what you're doing now, working with junior tennis players or junior athletes, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what? Tell us a little bit about your story. You tell us about how you played tennis growing up and why this path is so exciting for you.
I started playing tennis when I was 7 years old, and I think why I like tennis so much is because my parents never forced me to play. I would always see my mom playing. My dad started later in life. He was a basketball player, but I would just, go see my mom at the club, and I just wanted to play, but they really did put me in every sport and hobby. And then I chose, on my own. And I think that makes a big difference in, the passion for the sport because I was never obligated to play it. It was just because I wanted to.
You love to
So
play.
I feel that makes a big difference.
Awesome.
Yes.
So
Yep. And then no, go ahead.
so tell us about what happened. I mean, you started when you're 7, and then kind of how did you progress and become sort of a champion in so many different places?
So I there's this really important tournament in Costa Rica called Coffee Cup, and it's a junior tournament, 18 and under, but it's level one. It's like the highest level. Only like the best juniors play. And when I was 14, it was probably like the second, third time I played it, and I got killed, right? Like always. So
Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
I was really good nationally, but internationally I didn't compare. So I decided on my own to go to a tennis academy. My mom and dad told me I could go for the summer and then I could decide. And then I liked it so much that I begged them to stay. So I stayed at the tennis academy and went to high school for 3 years.
Okay.
And then that's when I really improved. And then I came back to that same tournament and I did really well. And then I went to play tennis in college and in Texas at Rice.
At
So yeah, it was
Rice.
definitely worth the effort.
That is so awesome. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
brought you all the way from Costa Rica, right? Which is your native land, right?
Yes.
That is awesome. And your English is perfect. So the academy you played like all summer, or it was a school that you went to school with and also was focused on tennis?
So I played that summer, but then I decided to stay. So then I obviously had to go to school. That was definitely something that my parents would have not let me done, just play tennis. So yeah, I went to high school and I trained for 5 hours a day, 2 hours before school, and then 3 hours after school. hmm
Wow. So that's definitely dedication. 5 hours a day. I mean, that's what it takes, right? Like you got to
Right.
practice. Can't just expect yourself to win it. So So, since you're focusing on nutrition and you've gone to school, like now, tell us a little bit about what you learned as an athlete and why nutrition was important, or what you didn't learn and wish you would have known. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel that I made so many mistakes along the way. I did, all these crazy diets. I was afraid of eating carbs for a while. And I wish I would have known, how to manage my nutrition better because I feel that my performance would have been so much better. Because if I managed to perform, pretty, average to good with, terrible intake, who knows what would have happened, if I would have just eaten better.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to transmit to the junior players, teach them how to eat, for performance, maintain their weight, not be scared of carbs, eat in a way that, they don't necessarily have to gain weight. They can stay at their weight but perform optimally. Especially because, teens are growing and that's just such a vital stage where you need enough calcium, you need enough iron. All those things are so important at that age. Yeah, so I
That is
just really want to
interesting.
transmit that.
Yeah, because my brothers, all but one of my brothers wrestled, and like they think because they dieted so much, like it stunted their growth. Like especially the three of them. Like, well, two of my brothers did it, and the other three did, and they're like the shortest ones in the family. So
Yeah.
you wonder if that has an effect, if you're not eating well, right?
Yeah, so I've read some studies on that, on if it's actually the excess of exercise or if it's the lack of calories and protein that actually cause these problems with growth, and
Mm-hmm.
they've come to a conclusion that because of the excess of exercise, we need more calories and we need more protein and more carbs, and it just doesn't happen. So then that's where the problem is. But if we actually fueled our bodies correctly for the amount that we're expending, then, that shouldn't be affected. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you're going to come up with a plan, like let's show one of your pictures. I think you did a little picture about how do you lose, how do you gain, how do you
Yeah.
maintain. Like that covers pretty much everybody's question, right?
Right. Yeah, there's so many theories and like, oh, don't eat this, don't eat that, or like this will make you gain weight, this will not make you gain weight. Like there's no one magic food that will make you gain weight. That's, bread is not going to make you gain weight. Like it doesn't have that power.
Yeah.
It's just the total amount of calories that you consume in the whole day and if you go over that amount or not. Now if we get into the specifics of it, like, we need enough protein, especially athletes, to, maintain our muscle mass and whatnot.
That's true.
But those are just more specifics. But if we just want to generalize what it is to gain and lose weight, that's all it is. It's energy, but from all sources. Yeah, so I
So
feel
what?
people don't hear that enough.
Yeah, right. So if an athlete wants to come to you, like, or the parents want you to set up something, so you would set up a meal plan, like how many calories you would assess. How would that work? Like the
Exactly.
program kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it would depend on different factors. You use an equation to calculate their energy requirements per day. And then I don't like, with teens and children, I don't like calorie counting. I feel that'll, like, I don't know, that might trigger eating disorders.
Sure.
So I would do something more like of a plate. So like, half your plate carbs, whatever the calories they need, try
Hmm.
to make it into a plate, or like amount of starch, or to teach them what their body needs, but like stay away from the calorie counting and more like, how
Quality of
many
food.
servings of the food groups you need.
Hmm.
I feel that's you know that's a more long-term approach than just like the calorie counting where you could just be eating processed foods and not really giving your body nutrition,
Right.
um, which is what athletes need. So
Right. Like in high school, I played basketball, volleyball, and track, and I like look back and I'm like, I was so stupid. Like for lunch, I would have like a milkshake and a chocolate chip cookie. Like no wonder I wasn't very fast when I was practicing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was like so tired. Like I can't make it up and down this court, you know? And like I had no idea, you know, my parents didn't know, or I'd have two rolls and a milkshake. Like that's so bad. Like,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
So you recommend frequent small meals like they eat before, they eat after, and so I know one of your slides talked about the post workout window. So
Hmm.
explain how that works as far as the after you work out, and then do they eat right before? I mean, that might give them a stomach ache, but explain some of those issues as an athlete.
Yeah, everything is very individualized. Everybody has different tolerances, but in general, if you're practicing more than an hour a day, you definitely need to worry about the workout window. If you're just, a regular Joe, just like you and me, that we just train 1 hour a day,
Yeah.
we don't need to worry about the post-workout window. If we eat a healthy meal, within 3 hours of our workout, we're
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when you work out multiple times a day or you work out for 3 hours at a time, then
Like
that's where you need to
gymnasts and
worry.
right
So
swimmers.
before the workout, I would suggest, if you have an hour to half an hour, just do simple carbohydrates. Nothing with much fiber because that's going to delay stomach emptying, or nothing with a lot of fat.
Mm-hmm.
uh, a lot of people say like peanut butter, but I don't, because it peanut butter is mostly fat, and I feel that will delay the stomach emptying. Maybe if you have 3 hours before,
Yeah.
I would do something like peanut butter, but not really an hour before. I would just do simple carbs. And yeah, if you're, it definitely depends on the amount of calories you're expending, but you probably will need, like electrolytes, like something like, a Gatorade or a Powerade or Accelerate in your practice.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially yeah, if it's a hot climate.
Especially, yes. And if you're doing, 2 or more hours at a time, then I feel you definitely need the extra carbs. They're definitely beneficial when you're practicing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about
And
like there's multiple like protein shakes that you can buy ready made, like your muscle milks or protein, that
mhm.
you can even buy in are those good to use? Are those hard on your stomach if you do it before? Like I haven't really ever tried them, but what do you think about those?
So I would do that afterwards, and do a whey protein shake, because whey is the one that gets absorbed the
Easily.
fastest.
Okay.
So that'll definitely help you replenish your muscles right away. And also do, 3 by 1. If you're practicing 3 or more hours a day, you definitely need 3 to 1 grams of carbs to grams of protein. So something maybe like a chocolate milk, like low fat chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Same thing, because if you have something with a lot of fat afterwards, then takes longer to digest, and it won't get as quick to your system.
Yeah.
Um,
Gets
so that
digested.
would be right after. Yeah, I would maybe have like a muscle milk, but the regular ones that have more carbs, because there's a light version too. For
Okay.
you and me, we could have the light one.
Yeah. We don't need all the extra. But if we
No
if
need to, yeah.
right. If they've worked out for 3 hours, I mean that's not gonna make a difference, if it's the higher fat, right?
They're
Yeah.
expending a lot of calories. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so what about swimmers though? I mean, that came to my mind. Like, I mean, isn't that hard for them to breathe? And are you not supposed to eat because you can? They always tell you can't eat before you swim for some reason. I can't even remember why. But
Yeah, I think that's a myth.
that's good.
Like,
Why?
I think that's
The myth about
but
what?
yeah, I think if you have simple carbs, you'll be fine. You mean like right before?
Yeah, like before you work,
Um,
like simple carbs
yeah,
as
if
in
you
bread or what kind of simple carbs?
Yeah, you can do like white bread with some honey, things that you're not supposed to eat on a regular basis, then
Hmm.
that's where you can eat them.
Right before
You
your
know,
3 hour workout, right?
yeah, before.
Hmm.
And Gatorade has these chews and other brands. Cliff, like these, it's like gummies, and it's basically sugar and electrolytes.
Oh,
So
cool.
that you can have half an hour before because it'll like digest very quickly.
Easily.
Hmm.
That's cool. So you can find those where? Like, I haven't really seen them at the store, but I haven't looked for them either. Is it GNC or like a vitamin store, or can you get them in a regular grocery store?
So usually at the sports stores and like the running stores, they'll
Oh,
have the,
like Academy or the, yeah, sports
yeah, like
stores or
Dick's
something.
Sporting Goods. They'll
Dick's
have
Sporting Goods.
the even like the jelly beans with electrolytes. You could do that right before or even during.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then I know, like here in Houston, like you played tennis here in Houston, so you know what it's like to
Yeah.
sweat. And I had never even considered like a salty sweater. Like, I mean, I know when I sweat, I have salt on me, like, and it's all crusty, and I have to take a shower. But do you have that picture up? Yeah. So explain a little bit about the implications of what you lose if you sweat. Like, go through some of those. You said, do your eyes sting?
Yeah, 'cause for example, your regular Gatorade bottle
Mm-hmm.
will have like it's like almost like 300 milligrams of sodium. And for a salty sweater, that's really not enough. Or if you're in a hot climate like Houston,
Mm-hmm.
where it was ridiculous, I would have to literally change shirts like 3 times during practice because they were soaked. It was disgusting. Yeah, so I sweat a lot. I took
Let me
after
take
my
my
dad,
shirt off just a
unfortunately.
second. Wring it
Yeah,
out.
you would like bring it out. It's so
Oh
gross.
man. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, so that was definitely not enough for me, and I have low blood pressure. I don't know. My doctor told me that that would make it worse,
Oh,
that I
interesting.
needed more salt.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I definitely would crave salt all the time during the day.
That is really
And
interesting. People
yeah,
probably have no idea about that. Like, oh, I just love potato chips, but they might not realize that they are dehydrated and they might not even make that association, right? And just,
right.
that's interesting. Yeah, people should think about that and pay attention to their
Right,
cravings.
so I just suggested to add maybe like an eighth of a teaspoon. An eighth of a teaspoon, that's very small,
Yeah.
to your Gatorade. Yep.
Okay.
To see, yeah, and do it before like 2 hours, hydrate 2 hours before you practice, so you get to the court hydrated, so you're ahead of the game.
Okay.
Yep. Hmm.
What? Okay. What else? So you would know if you're a salty sweater if you get white marks on your clothes, like the residual white,
Yeah.
salt is on your clothes. You crave salty foods. Your
Hmm.
sweat tastes salty. I mean, I think everybody's sweat tastes salty. Maybe not. I guess if you're hydrated enough, it might not be that salty. Like you could get a cucumber and just wipe it on your arm and like, ooh, that's really good, right? That's salty enough. I don't need the salt. Or, oh, you feel dizzy when you stand up quickly after exercise. Okay, that's happened to me, you know,
Hmm.
when I've gone
Yep.
biking and that kind of thing. So, uh, that's great. Those are good tips. And I
Mhm.
did have another question about the salt. So, you have to do it either before you get to that dehydrated point, right? I know I ran a race one time, a half marathon, and at, mile three, the last 2 miles, like I really hit the wall, and like at the end, I almost passed out. I didn't, but I think I got dehydrated, and I lost everything. So you can help coach on that kind of thing, how you would train properly for runners, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. You have to not only be hydrated, but also have enough glycogen in your muscles. So, yeah, with any race, you need to like have something with you, like the gels or like the chews or, and I don't see tennis players doing that enough. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, so I really think that they could be doing a better job, even the pros, because all
Yeah.
I see them drinking is just, the electrolyte drinks, like the
Yeah.
standard ones or like ones that are, made for them. But
Yeah.
I honestly don't see them like, like how runners have gels and like chews and like
Yeah. Do that.
tennis players are playing I don't know how many hours, especially the guys who play 3 out of 5 sets and they're only drinking Gatorade. And I honestly don't think that's enough. And I don't know why anyone hasn't said anything about it.
That's good. Well, that's why we need you out there, honestly, to make sure it happens, right? And
Yeah.
I know you watch Wimbledon and you watch the US Open. I know you keep up with that. So you probably noticed that they haven't really done it because you watched them play the whole entire
Yeah.
match, you know? So,
Yeah, it's just weird to me that they don't replenish their glycogen levels as well as other sports.
yeah. So
Yeah.
how would people know uh, whether they need to use you? Like, you think you could increase their performance, significantly, and they just don't know? They should really try out a month or so, or what do you recommend for them to like see the difference?
I think, I mean, just by increasing your carbs, I think that within a week you could feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel a lot of females, especially teenagers, they try to cut calories and do these crazy diets. And yeah, just when you're in a deficit, you don't have enough energy. You don't feel your best. And if
Yeah,
you're in a deficit and you're cutting carbs, then you feel worse.
yeah,
So just by fixing those two details and bringing them up to their maintenance calories and teaching them to not be scared of eating that amount,
mm-hmm.
because that's what their body needs to maintain their weight, and to eat carbs like at least 60% of the calories from carbs,
Yeah,
that would make a huge difference in their energy levels.
for sure.
So,
And this isn't like M&Ms and those
no.
aren't carbs, right? No, these are good quality carbs too, so you can guide them on what those are, to help
Yep.
them.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of carbs that compared with fat, but we actually with athletes, we actually need to minimize fat because
Mm-hmm.
we need to give them as many carbs as we can and, 20 to 25% protein. So we have to minimize fat as much as possible so that we're able to give them more of the energy, which is coming directly from carbs. So, what are some carb sources that don't have fat? Let's say, for example, like cereal, for example, or rice, or like bread, or different grains, sweet potatoes, pasta. All of those are sources that have carbs and not very little fat.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah.
that's good. Oh, I had a question about something I just forgot. About eating. So, yeah, carbs. Oh, okay. Yeah, I totally forgot what I was going to say. But somebody does have a question. Um, okay, I can't read that question. Sorry, can't read it. Okay, send me the question again because I can't read it. Somebody wanting to ask a question about something.
Yeah.
So it had to do with your athletes. Okay, the question is have you tried intermittent fasting? And if so, would that help or not something that athletes should even mess with? I think this
Yes.
guy is a coach of football and baseball kids.
Yeah, so here's the thing with intermittent fasting. I mean, it's a great tool for, weight loss, but it's an advanced tool. I don't think athletes should use it at all because, in order to get the amount of carbs that they need, I don't think they can eat them, in 3 sittings. I feel that they need to have more than 3 meals to be able to get in the calories that they need, the protein that they need. Because if you eat right, it's gonna be enough food, especially if you're, a male football player, a
Yeah.
teenager. They need a lot of calories. So if you're doing it right, if you're eating, the right carbs, the right protein, you're gonna be full.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like if you have it in 2 sittings, it's gonna be a lot of food. And I'd rather, it'll delay stomach emptying, and I'd rather you have 3 meals so you're able to digest it a little quicker, and you're ready to go for practice or whatever you are going to do.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Yeah, I know because that's been
Yeah.
a, a thing lately. A lot of people do the intermittent fasting and been successful, but maybe kids because they are growing as well. And the people that you want to focus on, like your junior league tennis players, they want to still keep growing and getting as strong as possible. So they probably do need more of the carbs, right?
Exactly. That also brings me to a point of putting kids in a calorie deficit. That's not recommended at all.
Mm-hmm.
What the guidelines teach is that you should keep teenagers and children at maintenance calories, and then since they're growing, they're gonna their energy requirements are gonna increase, and with that they'll lose a little bit of weight, but it's not recommended to put them in a deficit because, they're growing.
Right. Well,
And it's not recommended at all. So if you
okay.
really want to help a kid lose weight, then maybe change some of their habits, like don't drink as much juice, or, little habits here and there is not as much processed food. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So that
it's
was my
never put them on a diet. No.
that was a
Mm-mm.
question I had. So being a parent and having, a lot of kids, my oldest boys were in gymnastics, my oldest daughter too. So they were working out 3 and 4 hours, 3 to 4 days a week. Um, but as a parent, how
Wow.
would you even know what their calorie uh, requirements would be? Like, how do you measure that in a child or your teenager? How do you even know that? Do you know how to calculate
So
that?
I just created a calorie counter.
Wow.
It's with these formulas that are used in pediatrics, and then
Cool.
I just did it by activity level factors. So
Mm-hmm.
I divided it into amount of hours that they work out per week. So I'm gonna be putting that up soon on
Sweet.
my Instagram. Yeah,
That is
next
awesome. We'll
week.
look forward to that. We'll have to
And
take note of that.
then for every calorie range, since I don't want kids counting calories because that's crazy,
Yeah.
um, I am gonna do like some plates. So like show them exactly, what their plate should look like depending on their calorie range and how
Okay.
many hours they work out.
Like portion
Mhm.
size. Yeah.
Sorry?
Like portion size. So instead of counting like every little grain, this is one my tenth of a calorie, 1/10, right? No, or
Right. Just
every
how
piece
their
of
plate should look
broccoli.
like.
Just like a
Like
yeah.
if they need more carbs, or, I'm trying to do something a little bit more comprehensive, because right now what's out there is like there's like easy training day, moderate, and hard like plates. But I want to try to even do it a little bit more individualized, like how many
Customized.
hours, depending on the hours you train, what
Oh,
your plate should
cool.
look like.
So you're
Yeah.
bringing this down to a science. So
I'm trying.
yeah, that's awesome. Like who's ever done that? I don't know anybody that's done that. So I'm super excited that you're doing this. Like I'm wanting to parent my kids. Come on, let's do this for band practice. Yeah. So
Yeah, because I don't want, that's really tricky. There's this app that Weight Watchers created
uh-huh.
for kids, and to count calories. And yeah, there's been a lot of backlash because, yeah, it's,
Well,
I
so
don't
I mean, but the other, no, I'm not really playing devil's advocate, but I sort of am because I have also seen parents that, their kids are way overweight than they're supposed to be. And so, maybe how do they decide what to do to help them? Or I know some parents have their kids do sports, so that really helps, just help them be more active, you know. And as they
know.
they kind of grow out of it, maybe. So,
Yes, yes, definitely. That's the whole thing with the maintenance calories that they grow out of it because they're
yeah.
growing and um, they'll eventually lose the weight. But there are definitely some habits that are detrimental to everyone. Like the juice and the soda. Um, you know, Unless you're training like 3, 5 hours a day, you don't really need to drink your calories. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Um, I mean, milk is different because, teens and children need a certain amount of milligrams of calcium. And, oh, that's another post that I'm going to make soon. It's about the absorbability of the calcium for each of the foods. So,
Oh.
for example, milk, it's 30%, but in vegetables, it's a lot less because of the oxalate. But I don't want to bore
Wait.
you with that right now.
No,
But
but I'll just explain oxalate right quick because you're the expert on this and studied all this. So what? Yeah, explain that right quick for me. Oxalate.
So basically, it's something that inhibits the absorption of the calcium of a food. So,
Oh,
especially in vegetables, you know how, like, they say, oh, spinach is calcium and all these other vegetables,
green leafy
but
vegetables.
they
Yeah.
don't take into account, yep, they don't take into account the oxalates, which actually decrease the amount of calcium you absorb. So, you end up decreasing very little.
Okay.
So so actually there is a point in drinking milk
Milk.
and all these other dairy products, which people are so against these days. So
Because you
you
absorb
know,
it in with that because it doesn't have as many
yeah,
oxalates. Is that right?
it doesn't have any. So
Oh.
yeah, you absorb 30% of it instead of like I don't know, it goes down to like less than 10.
Oh wow.
So
Okay, that's really good
yeah, so
information.
I'll put up like a chart like that'll say like per 1 cup of milk, and this is how many servings you need to have of each vegetable to get to the
That
amount that
mix.
you get with 1 cup of milk. Hmm.
That's good information. Okay, so I do have a question because my youngest one, he's the only one in the family, but he was allergic to milk, and so I know almond milk. He drinks almond milk and sometimes the cashew milk and everything. So, what do you suggest as a good way for him to get the extra calcium he needs?
Is he allergic to lactose?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
It's
Like
just
he can eat yogurt and cheese and that kind of thing, but anytime
that's
I
fine. Yogurt and cheese
okay.
are great sources as well. Yeah, it's just from the dairy that for some reason it gets absorbed more than from the vegetables.
So that's good if he can get those. He'll get
But
he get
almond milk, I'm gonna have to look at some studies and see the absorbability of because apparently there's something about the milk. They don't know if it's the lactose
hmm
that actually helps you absorb more of the calcium. Yeah, they still don't know what exactly it is.
hmm.
And I don't know if you know how like almond milk and all those have the added calcium.
Supposedly, yeah,
So
but
I'm
maybe
gonna have
it's
to do, yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research to see if it's absorbed just as well as milk.
okay. Well, that will be for next time. You can get back with me on that. And yeah, because my
Yep.
son's not growing really very fast, and so that's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. But I mean, he eats pretty well. So if he drinks milk though, like it ruins his appetite, and so that he doesn't eat well. So he doesn't like
Mm,
to eat. So maybe because it hurts his stomach, and then I'm kind of hoping he might grow out of it too, because the rest of us, aren't. So
yep.
yeah. So let us know next time.
Yeah, I
Well,
will.
well, that's great. So how would you like to market? Like, are there tennis leagues? Like, I knew one of my girlfriends worked at the Houston Tennis Club here. So how do you know? How, what places to market to? Do you want to do strictly tennis players or pretty much any junior athlete?
I would love to work with junior tennis players because that's what, I grew
That's
up
your
with and
game.
what I know.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
you'll
I,
play with them, and like if they can beat you, then maybe, like that can be their training. As soon as you get good enough to beat me, then, no. Yeah.
but I mean, I'm definitely open to working with other teenage athletes. I mean, I know their struggles. I know, what it is to have to train for, hours at a time every day and,
Yeah.
not fall asleep at school
Yeah, for
because you're
sure.
so tired.
Especially if you have, like, you worked out before school and after school, so no wonder, you're tired.
Yep.
So, is there a certain age that you kind of focus on, like junior high and high school, or even younger, like middle school, junior high, high school?
Yeah, I would want to do ages 9 through 18.
Okay.
That would be
Yeah,
ideal. Yep.
great. And
hmm
people can get a hold of you. Do we have her information up there? Like, I know you post stuff on Instagram. You have awesome information there. So, and
Thanks.
that's a good place to be for these young kids because that's where they are. I know. So, your Instagram is the tennis player dietitian.
hmm
Yes, that's great. So, tennis player is pretty easy to remember, I think, and especially your pictures. Oh, okay, I have a question about your video. Like, was that like a competition you had with your friends? Like, how many times you could hit the ball up in the air without it falling?
No, it was just me being stupid.
Oh, I was like that.
Because
You're
she's
kind of
like,
spinning it as you're doing it, so I can tell you play tennis and you spin it because you're keeping it by still spinning it. Somebody else would probably like bounce off the wall or something. You know?
I mean, my room, right? It's like a closet. So I
Yeah.
was trying to bounce the ball between my bed and the wall, so I didn't have much space. But yeah, I'm getting better.
Yeah. Next time you'll have to sing a song while you do it, and then yeah, people really like that.
I would lose followers if I did that.
I'm not so sure. Or you can talk about your next thing coming up. You know what I mean? So I think that would be great. You should just do that and give people tips. Like I would always remember that. That would be kind of fun. So that's
Okay.
an idea. You don't have to, but if you want, that would be funny. So well, great. So I'm glad. So next time we have you on, like maybe you can tell us, some of the people that you've worked with and how it's helped them and give us some more details. But yeah, I hope we'll repost this on your YouTube. You have a YouTube channel too, and Facebook as well, right?
hmm
Okay. Yeah, I think you have
Yes.
Facebook. Yeah, you have a Facebook account, but and Instagram, but mainly Instagram is the best way to get a hold of you, right?
Right.
Okay, great. Well, awesome. Thanks for being on again. I'm super
Thank you.
excited to hear about your success and how you help people. And I wish my kids. Oh, I do have one other thing. Okay,
Yes.
I signed up, so I'm committed. I'm doing a powerlifting competition in December. So,
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I have a little bit of a dilemma because there's different weight classes, right? So, based on what
Uh-huh.
I'm at, I would have to lose probably 10 pounds to hit
Uh-huh.
the lower weight class that ends at 132, I think. So like I'm about 140, 139. So, but I'm worried that if I do that, I'm gonna lose my strength. But then, because of my age, I'll have a better chance at doing better. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of in a dilemma.
How
But
many weeks do you have till the competition?
let's see, from the 14th, so it's 2 months, 2 months and a week. So yeah.
Yeah, so I would suggest maybe losing, like, if you lose, can you what are the weight classes? Do you need to lose 10 pounds in order to get into the other weight class,
Yeah,
or
no, it wouldn't be quite 10, but almost 10. It'd be 9 pounds pretty much. But I'm worried that I
I
would
mean,
lose my strength so much. But then I compete on a better level if I get that low. So anyway,
you could do 1 pound a week.
pretty
That's pretty
reasonable.
ideal
Yeah, so
with
that's
like,
about 9 weeks.
yeah, like a
Okay.
500 calorie deficit from your maintenance calories per day.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but you would definitely have to be consistent for the 8, 9 weeks. Hmm.
Okay. Well, I'll have to talk with you more about it, and you can give me specifics because I don't want to lose my muscle mass. I might lose a little bit, but I don't want to lose my strength. So I don't know if I should do
Yep.
it like right before and try and lose a whole bunch, or do it gradually. So anyway, so we can talk about that, and then I can tell everybody how well you helped me. So
Yes.
okay. Well, awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Erica. I love talking with you. You always give me something new. I've learned about oxalates, which I didn't know about, and salty sweater people. Not like a sweater that you wear that's salty, but like you sweat. You're a sweater.
Yes.
So, and I bet people in New York, like, because it's drier, they don't think they're sweating as much, but you still sweat, right? You
Right.
just don't know.
Even when you're swimming.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you do sweat when you're swimming. Yeah. Yeah, so it's good you know all that information. So, okay, well, we'll be having you on again coming up in the near future. And thanks again. I hope you get some good referrals from this, and we'll keep promoting you also on our YouTube channel. For those of you who want to be on the BMB show, you can always message me on Facebook. I'm Rochelle Painbaum, the pain whisperer. I always love to help people fix their pain as a physical therapist. I love doing that. That's what I do. Also, we have a YouTube channel, Barriers and Breakthroughs, so you can see all of our previous interview guests that have great information that you can learn something and help you in your life. So thanks again for tuning in, and contact Erika if you know people in New York. You people in New York, like, take her seriously. She loves what she does, and she'll help you out a lot. So,
Or if you want free tips on nutrition for
oh
tennis
yeah,
players. Yeah,
tune
just
into your Instagram channel for sure.
yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, and we'll be in touch. I'll be hitting you
So,
up for some more advice and help for that, and promote you. So I appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you so much, Rochelle.
Okay, we'll be talking to you soon. Have a good evening.
Right. You
All
too.
right,
Bye.
bye, Erica.